Code reviews are an important part of any software development lifecycle team. Whether you're a automation engineer, software developer in tests, there's a good chance if you're writing code, you also experience code reviews. But what are code reviews? Why are they important? And what should you get out of code reviews? Let's discuss that today. If you're new here, my name is the Test Lead, and I make content to help you on your software testing journey. Today we're discussing code reviews. Code reviews are a collaborative process in software development where peers or team members examine each other's code to identify bugs, improve code quality, and ensure adherence to coding standards. It serves as a crucial step in any code base during the software development lifecycle to make sure that we're maintaining reliability, readability, and most importantly, good performance in our code. We set a standard and we need to make sure that that standard is always being met. We're only as good as our worst code. Now let's talk about some pros and cons of code reviews. Starting with the pros. Increased code quality. By having code reviews, you're setting a standard for all your code in your code base. For some companies, whoever's doing the code review, they'll have a checklist saying, okay, does the current code meet this criteria, this criteria, and this criteria? Yes, okay, cool. We're following our standards. If not, make suggestions to make it meet our standards. By having this extra check, we're making sure that all code that's committed to our repository is good code. And me personally, knowing that somebody's going to review my code, I'm going to put the extra effort in making sure that it's quality. Knowledge sharing. If somebody is more senior than you reviewing your code, or someone who just may be more experienced, they may say, you did it this way, but this new feature or this new library is a better way to do it, and suggest you do it that way. If the code review didn't take place, you wouldn't know about this new feature or library. So this forces you to collaborate with your peers. Early bug detection. There's a good chance if you're busy, maybe rushing through writing your code, you may miss something. By having a second and third set of eyes look at it, they may look and see, oh, you missed this authentication part or this part over here. That helps make sure that, once again, any code that we're committing is quality. And last but not least, code consistency. Because there should be a standard for the code being written for your team, having this process make sure that the standard is set and is being followed across the board. Now for some of the cons. Time consuming. Some code reviews can take a long time. When you submit hundreds of lines of code, I had to actually see, well, what's going on? That can take part from me doing my own development and testing work. So I had to set time aside to just review code. Subjectivity. Some suggestions or comments in a code review may be subjective. They may suggest something, but you may think that's not a better option. So it may not be clear-cut, black and white, this is better than that. It may be subjective or opinionated. And that's where conflict can start. Overlooking issues. Because you have somebody or two people or three people reviewing your code, you may assume that, oh, if I miss something, they'll catch it. But what if they don't? So even with reviewers doing code reviews, still try your best effort to cover everything. Don't just rely on them to catch things. And last but not least, everybody's favorite, the potential for negative feedback. There's a good chance you may write what you think is the best code ever and ask for a code review and get back a bunch of negative comments. To me, if I'm seeing that, that's going to hurt a little bit. In our last step for this video, we'll talk about how to handle negative comments. Quick break. If you're enjoying this video so far, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you need help on your software testing journey, check out my website, thetestinglead.com. Now, back to the video. So we've introduced what code reviews are, talked about some of the pros and cons. Now let's talk about the typical process of a code review. Initiation. The code review process begins when a developer or person writing code completes a set of changes or additions to the code and is ready to submit them for final review. The developer initiates the code review by creating a code review request or a pull request in the version control system such as Git. Selection of reviewers. The developer selects one or more reviewers to evaluate the code changes. Reviewers are typically peers or team members with relevant expertise in a project domain or programming language. Reviewing the code. Reviewers examine the code changes carefully, focusing on various aspects such as correctness, performance, security, readability, and adherence to coding standards. They may use code review tools or platforms to view the changes, leave comments, suggest improvements, and discuss specific sections of code. Discussion and collaboration. Reviewers and developers engage in discussions, clarifications, and debates about the code changes. This collaborative process fosters knowledge sharing and consensus building within a team. Reviewers may ask questions, provide feedback, offer alternative solutions, or propose changes to improve the code quality. Iterative refinement. The developer iteratively refines the code based on the feedback received during the review process. They address comments, make corrections, and incorporate suggested improvements into the code base. The review cycle may involve multiple iterations until all parties are satisfied with the quality and completeness of the code changes. Approval and merge. Once the code changes have undergone thorough review and refinement, the reviewers approve the changes, indicating that they meet the acceptance criteria and are ready for integration. The developer merges the approved changes into the main code base, typically following a defined workflow or branching strategy. Post-review activities. After the code changes are merged, developers may perform additional testing, validation, or documentation updates to ensure that the changes integrate seamlessly with the existing code base and meet project requirements. Reviewers may also provide feedback on the overall code review process, suggesting improvements or identifying areas for optimization. Now, to finish it up, let's talk about the key principles to an effective code review to make sure that everybody involved gets the most out of it. Collaboration. Foster a collaborative and respectful environment where team members can openly discuss ideas, provide constructive feedback, and work together to improve code quality. Continuous learning. View code reviews as an opportunity for continuous learning and skill development, both for reviewers and developers submitting code for the review. Focus on quality. Prioritize code quality and adherence to coding standards, aiming to produce clean, maintainable, and robust code that meets project requirements. Transparency and accountability. Maintain transparency throughout the code review process, ensuring that decisions and feedback are documented and responsibilities are clearly defined. Iterative improvement. Continuously evaluate and refine the code review process based on feedback, lessons learned, and evolving project needs, striving for continuous improvement and optimization. If you're new or on a junior level and getting code reviews from senior people, don't take it personal. They're there to help you become a better coder, developer, tester, or whatever you are. So if they give feedback, listen to it. If you completely disagree with it, have a healthy discussion with them, discussing why you feel that way. You may be able to convince them to come your side. Or with that discussion, they may say, for efficiency purposes, or for reason 1, 2, and 3, this method is better. So go into it with an open mind and look at it as a way to just keep learning and developing throughout your career. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them below. And most importantly, don't forget this, learn something new today.